guys, what's up? My name is Elizabeth and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video, we are going to do a little challenge. Okay, so I'll admit that I kind of got a little head start on this challenge because I was like, I'm not really sure what I'm doing, so I kind of would like to know just that if this is even possible to do it in such a short amount of time, but I think I might be able to do it. So I think one way to really help understand scripture is when we write it in our own words. So in today's challenge, we are going to look at a certain passage of scripture, and I will try to come up with some kind of poetic way of reiterating what the scripture actually says. And so I'm going to kind of bring my guitar in because that way it helps me to think. And the challenge is for you all is to do the same. It doesn't have to be poetic necessarily. It doesn't even have to be put to music. And trust me, I'm not really that much of a musician. I know a couple chords to get by to help me try to make my brain think about how to put words together. I don't know. There's just something about strumming simple chords that help me think about the next word. But that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. And for you at home, you guys can just maybe write down a phrase that describes the passage. And I think that really helps us to grasp what we are reading. So with that being said, let's jump right in and get this challenge started. So the inspiration of this video came from when I wanted to do a digging deeper video of idols, and it's all about, and you can find that video. I can't remember what passage it was, but I talked a lot about idols, and you guys can see that digging deeper video. And so after that, I realized how much that helped me to comprehend the scripture. And so when I was having trouble with my Job exegetical passage, I actually ended up doing that again for the book of Job. And so that's really what kind of inspired it. But literally, if you look at every biblical poem, every biblical song that's supposed to be a Christian song that hopefully will be based on scripture, is based on scripture. If it is based on scripture, which if it's a Christian song, and especially songs we used to worship on Sunday, it should be based upon scripture. And so I thought, why not show you guys that process that I do that? So I have been trying to mull over this exegetical passage that I picked from my Isaiah study. And I was thinking, why don't I do this passage for you all as an example? Because I need to really comprehend this passage for my exegetical passage, which I will release to you all, a shorter version, of course, for my Digging Deeper video near Christmas, because this passage is often used for Christmas. However, on a side note, don't really want to break it to you all, but Jesus was most likely not born in December. Okay? He was more likely born in the spring, possibly the fall, more likely the spring. That's just a side note. So let's just dive in and get started. And I'll first start off with reading that passage. So the passage is in Isaiah chapter 9, starting in verse 2, ending in verse 7. And it says this: "The people who walk in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwell in a land of deep darkness, on them has light shone. You have multiplied the nations, you have increased its joy. They rejoice before you as with joy at the harvest, as they are glad when they divide the spoil. For the yoke of his burden and the staff for his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, you have broken as on the day of Midian. For every boot of the trampling warrior in battle tumult, and every garment rolled in blood will be burned as fuel for the fire. For to us a child is born, for us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and of peace there will be no end, and on the throne of David and over his kingdom, to establish it and to uphold it with justice and righteousness from this time forth and forevermore. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this." Okay, so when I put things in words especially poetic form, I unfortunately don't always use the entire passage. I get gist, but I'm not able to mention every single little aspect sometimes. Sometimes I get a summary, and specifically for my exegetical passage, my focus is more on verse 6 to 7, and so that's what this will be on, just to let you know. However, I am going to do my best, so we'll see what I will come up with, and I hope you guys join along with this. Pick a passage and do that. It's something really fun, and I'm going to try to show you my process of it. So when I write anything, I first start off with simple strumming patterns. Just trying to get myself into the mood of the moment, because there's definitely some kind of feeling to it. Sometimes I'll strum like this, other times I'll strum like this. Kind of just depends on what kind of poem I'm doing. If it's a spoken word, a lot of times I would start rapping more, but we're not going to make that. I already came up with a tune for this. I'm not really sure how good this video is because I have no vocal practice, so bear with me if you want to, or you could just see the final product when I'm reading it to you. The people walk in darkness there. I really like that part, so now I'm going to just write that down, hoping that I remember. A lot of times I still have to just go back and forth over and over with it in my head. So now that I've actually written those 4 lines, we're going to kind of dissect them a little bit. Sometimes I do this during, but because I'm not really sure how long this is going to take, we'll just take it one step at a time. Probably break this down parts and then show you guys the rest of it. So what I have written down here, and I seriously need glasses for this. People walk in darkness, their hearts are filled with wickedness. And so what I would do is look at the rhythm, the rhyme of it all. So people walk in darkness. 6. Their hearts are filled with wickedness. So if I make that a total line, that would give us 14 syllables. So let's look at the next line. They dwell in the shadows of the night, but here comes the light. Do you see what I did? 14. So we have 14, 14. And we also have an A. So we also have rhyme within the line. That's kind of what I have here. So then the next one is kind of different. He will be shown to the nations of this world. He will bring joy to all who hear his words. So he will bring joy. I have to actually change that. He will bring joy to all who hear his words. So let's see how close we are here. He will be shown to the nations of this world. 11. He will bring joy to all who hear his words. So that's 10. I could add 4th. He will bring forth joy to all who hear his words. And that will bring us to 11. So we're just going to go with that for right now and see where that takes us. So then we kind of try to go to a different line and see where we go. I'm going to probably skip a little bit, and we're just playing around. I have given myself an hour to do this, and so we're going to go for an hour and see what I come up with. Of course, usually this can take me up to anywhere from an hour to days upon days, and it can take months sometimes just coming up with one subject and then thinking upon it. So this is how I write poetry. A lot of times, sometimes it's very specific. In this case it is. Other times it's more my emotions. It's just me trying to discover what I want to say. And that can take months upon months. And for scripture like this can take a while as we learn and as we discover. And so that's why I want to say first and foremost that whatever I write here, it might change a little bit as I discover, as I go through this exegetical passage, because I haven't finished. So maybe when I do my exegetical passage, I'll show you the final product of this. And I'm just writing this so fast that if you look at my computer, I'll try to show it to you all. If you look at my computer, everything isn't necessarily spelled correctly, and that's okay right now. We're just trying to get our thoughts down quickly enough before we actually forget them. And then once again, we will dissect this stanza and see kind of what it looks like. shall be in the zeal of the armies of the Lord. That's a little bit long, but I like it still. And I'm not going to try to make this perfect at the moment because we don't have that much time. But normally, I would try to walk away from this and then we'll try to kind of like rephrase it. It's the same idea, but I will walk away and then try to rephrase it. But we're going to just go with it anyways, okay? So, there was only 300 men left with Gideon, and that was the day of Midian. So they were talking about just as that. So it's kind of like doing this comparison because this is written to the Hebrews, to the Israelites, and they would know the history quite well. It's Isaiah prophesying about the Messiah to come, and how just like people were rejoicing in the day of Midian, so shall there be when the Son of Man comes. I am going to do to kind of help give some inspiration for the rest of this, because I'm only caught on verse like 3 to 5. 4 to 5. I'm going to just kind of look at Logos and see what it has to say. This changes as I understand Scripture more, and that's okay. When you write down something about Scripture, it can totally change. I think sometimes it's good to write down even our pre-misconceptions so we can understand that. And when we hear someone else's, we can remember, oh yeah, I had that preconception, right? So I think it's good to help try to form that in our minds, okay? So this is, you're literally coming along with me as I'm learning this, okay? I just want to give that as a disclaimer, but wow, y'all. So I wrote that in roughly about 45 minutes, y'all. Okay, so now I'll read it to you. People walk in darkness, their hearts are filled with wickedness. They dwell in the shadows of the night, but here comes the light. He will be shown to the nations of this world. He will bring forth joy to all who hear his words. Take 2. People walk in darkness, their hearts are filled with wickedness. They dwell in the shadows of the night, but here comes the light. He will be shown to the nations of this world. He will bring forth joy to all who hear his words. For unto us a child is born, and a son is given, and the government of this world shall be upon him. Wonderful Counselor, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace, for his reign is eternity. So rejoice as in the day of Midian, when but a few men defeated all of them. Justice and righteousness shall be established forevermore. This shall pass in the zeal of the Lord. Remember the burden, the oppression, one day that shall be forever broken, not without bloodshed, not without a cost, but a perfect man taking the place for us. This is the greatest story that has ever been seen. Son of God hung on a tree, rose again victoriously, rescuing men from damnation. This is true redemption to those who believe in him. And that is the poem, y'all. And that's kind of how I do it. It starts out with a little song, a little tune, and it becomes this. Again, it's not perfect. It's far from perfect. Not all perfect rhyme scheme or anything like that. I usually try a little bit harder, but I had 45 to 60 minutes to do that, depending on how it works, but I'm practically out of time, so yeah, that is pretty much it, y'all. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you guys want to see more of me and how I write and like the behind the scenes of it, I'll be glad to show you guys all that. It's something I really enjoy because something has really helped me to express my own feelings with other people and to just like understand Scripture a little better. So yeah, with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, push that bell button to get notification. Comment down below. Comment if you want to see a certain type of video or a certain type of topic, because I love to talk about it. For the most part, depending on what topic it is, of course. Well, let's not be rude or gross or anything like that. But for the most part, I love to hear your suggestions at least. Well, love is way used too much. I like to hear your suggestions. I really do. And so with that being said, thank you so much. And I'll see you guys back here next time. See you guys later. God bless you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.